Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled Yosef Hatzadik's Mistake. So we see such an incredible human being. He's been thrown under the bus again and again. He just keeps rising up. When it comes to dealing with his brothers, he's a big tzaddik, takes care of them, no signs of revenge. Yet, it says that he died before his brothers. It doesn't openly say that in the pasuk. It says Myers-Yosaif, Yosef and that whole generation passed away. However, the Medrash learns from that line implies that he passed away early, because it should just say they all died. Fine, so he died early. So you could just say he died early, that's it. Bad heart, by this, by that. It doesn't imply anything about an imperfection. Some great tzaddikim die early. No, but the Midrash says over here he died early because he was a melech, and that's the price of malchus, of leadership. Rashi brings this down, and the question, of course, is this simply an example where power corrupts and power hurts someone, and therefore he suffered from that? Is that why? Not so simple, because it says Yosef hayab Mitzrayim in Vayigash. Yosef is in Mitzrayim, and the commentators say we know he's in Mitzrayim. We don't need to hear that. They say, no, the same Yosef Tzaddik, the young man from Canaan, it's the same Yosef from Mitzrayim, meaning power did not corrupt him. He was a tzaddik till the end. So why does he die early? Because of his leadership. So the Torah Tamima, the opening verse of Sefer Shmot, Parshat Shmot, says that the problem wasn't leadership, wasn't corruption. It was that he heard his father's name mentioned, Avda Ha'avi, 10 times. And he didn't respond. He didn't interject. And when he heard you to say, your father, our father, Avda Ha'avi, your servant, our father, 10 times he heard that. He was punished. Instead of living till Me'avi Esrim, Shana 120, he lost 10 years of his life. Torah Tamima says, where do we have 10? It only says 5 times, Avda Ha'avi. So he says he heard it once each time from Yehuda and another time from the translator. That was 5 times, and 5 times that added up to 10. So Rav Kook says that Yosef had one goal here. And this is the goal often of a leader. That's why the Medrash says that sometimes a malchus can cause a person to lose his years. His goal as a leader was the macro, to bring the Jews down to Mitzrayim. He knew that was the next chapter in Jewish history, and Yosef was focused. He wasn't focused on licking his wounds, wasn't focused on revenge, nothing. Just fulfilling the prophecy and bringing the Jews down to Egypt. And he needed to bring them down in a healthy manner, so he went through this whole process, and that's his focus. And he sees he's getting closer and closer to the goal. They're almost there, going to bring their father down. We're there. And if he doesn't want to ruin this process in any way, he lets you to say what he has to say in order to go ahead and move this big process along. But Rav Kook says, based on the Medrash, that he lost years, that as great as Yosef was, and as focused as he was on the macro, the big goal, he shouldn't have lost focus on the micro. Hearing your father, Yaakov Tzaddik, called Avda Havi, your servant, Yaakov, he should have interjected. And he should have said, no, you don't need to say my servant, just say Avi, your father. That's fine. And he wouldn't have blown his cover. So Rav Kook says, but he was focused on the big picture, which is great. And that's what a leader has to do, is see the full picture. Nevertheless, Rav Kook says, he cannot lose focus on the micro. Even a small little detail like that, but it's a big detail. And therefore, that is, or Rav Kook says, it was a problem with Yosef problem. It's a small problem. He was a Yosef Tzaddik. Still, that's something that was a little mistake. And a tzaddik pays for his mistakes, as we know, and that's how he explains that he died earlier than the brothers. Of course, he was a Rasha Chas v'Shalom, he was a tzaddik of tzaddikim, but in this area, he was focused on the big picture and missed this little detail. Shalom.